Two-stroke engines. Now, construction and working of two-stroke engine. Particularly, first we will see the petrol engine and then we will understand the working of diesel engine. Okay. Only the difference will be there, that is, in case of petrol engines the spark plug will be there. In case of diesel engine, instead of spark plug there will be a fuel injector. Okay. Now, as you can see here, a typical diagram is shown, right, and one working animation is also shown over here. Okay, so let's understand this. Imagine initially that this is the piston which is at particularly over here. Okay, now before that let me give you brief about this diagram, that this is the inlet port through which fresh mixture of air and petrol will come inside the engine. This is the crank and crankcase. This is the transfer port, like this. That means nothing but a way or path to move the fluid. Next, this is the outlet port. This is the piston rings. Piston ring and piston have deflector on top of the piston, and the spark plug is also provided. Also, there is a cylinder. Okay. Now, let's understand how this whole mechanism is working. But before that, one more thing, that I will call certain terms, that is, let's say if the piston is at the bottom like this over here, so it will be called as B, D, C, and if the piston is at the top, just as it is right now, so it will be called as T, D, C. BDC means what? Bottom dead center, and TDC means what? Top dead center. Okay, I will write it down over here for your convenience. Is top dead center. Okay, and BDC means what? Bottom dead center. Now, let's understand the working of the same. Simple. Initially, the piston will be assumed at bottom dead center. Like here, you can see in this figure. When the piston is at bottom dead center, then what will happen? At that particular position, your transfer port will be opened. When the piston is hitting the BDC, that is bottom dead center, your inlet valve is closed, inlet port is closed, transfer port is open, and exhaust port is also open. Okay, so what will happen at that time? The fuel which is present over here in the crankcase will be transferred via transfer port to the top side of the cylinder. Okay, that means top side of the piston, that is the cylinder cavity. Okay, like this. Here you can see over here, right? So whenever the piston is hitting the bottom dead center, at that time the mixture of air and petrol is transferring from transfer port to the top side of the piston. Now you can see that piston has some deflector, right, like this. So what will happen? This deflector will deflect the fresh charge in the upward direction like this, and this fresh charge will come over here in this cavity. So what will happen? This fresh charge will give push to the already combust product, because it is not like it has just started. The cycle has already started, okay, and we are understanding its working. Okay, so what happened? The combustion products are already there. So fresh charge, as soon as it will enter over here, it will give push to the combustion product, and the combustion product will move out from the exhaust port. Remember student, right now the piston is at bottom dead center. I hope you understood this, right? First of all, the piston is at bottom dead center. I am not moving it at all. At that time, at that instant of second, what will happen? Fresh charge which is present over here, that will try to transfer to the transfer port to the top side of the piston. that is cylinder cavity, and due to that what will happen, whatever amount of combustion products that is already present over here, that will be pushed out through the exhaust port. Okay, now further what will happen, gradually as the piston will move in the upward direction, so it will close the transfer port and the outlet port, and simultaneously it will open the inlet port. Okay, as the piston is moving in the upward direction, what will happen, it will let's write it down. As the piston is moving from BDC to TDC, so it will do what, it will first of all compress the already present mixture that is over here. It will compress the mixture over here, right? And at the same time suction will occur because the inlet port is open, so suction will also occur, right? So compression and suction both are taking place simultaneously. Okay, next, as the piston will reach to the top dead center, then what will happen, a spark will be produced, and that is why the combustion will take place. So now what will happen, during the second stroke, when the TDC to BDC, the piston will move from TDC to BDC because already the fuel is ignited, and due to that heat energy the fuel will create pressure on the piston top, so it will exert the pressure, the piston will move downward. So that is from TDC to BDC. So during that what will happen, during that your power stroke will be created, so your piston will move downward. Now at the same time what will happen, the already combustion product which is present over here, that will go to the outside, that means exhaust will occur, plus power is also there because power stroke is produced. Okay, so as I told you, the four processes are occurring in two strokes only. One stroke is what, the piston is moving from bottom dead center to top dead center. During that, compression of fresh charge is occurring in the cylinder cavity, and suction is also occurring. And during the second stroke, that is TDC to BDC, exhaust is occurring, also the power is produced. So all four processes, that is suction, compression, expansion or power and exhaust, all are covered in two stroke only. That is why this engine is called as two stroke SI engine. Okay, I hope you understood the working. It is very simple, right? Now let's move further to two stroke CI engine. Now two stroke CI engine, that is two stroke compression ignition engine. Okay, now in this case, instead of the spark plug, fuel injector will be used. Okay, here also if you want to understand, the remaining parts are nearly same. Okay, inlet port, outlet port, transfer port, cylinder, piston, piston ring, deflector, fuel injector, crank and crankcase. Okay, so now let's understand the strokes itself. So if we understand the strokes, then first of all let's say the first stroke, that is from bottom dead center to top dead center. Okay, so bottom dead center to top dead center. So now at that time what will happen, the piston will move from this bottom center to top dead center. So at that time the compression will also occur plus suction will also occur, right? And in second stroke what will happen, TDC to BDC, during this particular stroke the power will occur plus exhaust will occur. But the difference is what? Difference is that here only air is sucked in. Okay, so fuel injector will do what? It will just inject the fuel as soon as your piston has reached from BDC to TDC. So during the end of the first stroke, that is from BDC to TDC, as soon as your piston will reach to this position, at that particular fraction of second, some amount of fuel will be injected, such that already there is the pressure and temperature inside this cavity is already high enough that this fuel, as soon as it will enter the cavity, it will self-ignite itself. That is called as self-ignition temperature. Self ignition temperature means what? The temperature at which the fuel will ignite itself. That is called as self ignition temperature, right? So that is a new term to you, understand that. So in case of diesel, the self ignition temperature will be reached. So as soon as the diesel spray will be occurring, so it will start burning itself. Okay, so here no spark is produced to just ignite the fuel. That is why these particular engines are called as compression ignition engine, because the spark is produced due to self ignition. Self ignition has occurred due to already compressed air. When you compress the air, its pressure and temperature will increase, and that increased temperature is equivalent to self ignition temperature of the fuel. So as soon as you enter the fuel in the self ignition area, the fuel will ignite itself. Okay, so that's how it works, right? Now one more important term, student, that here whenever your fuel or charge is transferring from crankcase to the top portion of the cylinder cavity, that is called as scavenging. Let me go back to this slide. Okay, see here you can see the green arrow is showing like this, right? As soon as your fuel is transferring from the crankcase to the cylinder cavity and it is pushing the combustion product outside the cylinder, that whole process is called as scavenging. Okay, it is one important term, you have to remember that. Okay, so today we will keep up to this point. Thank you.